Hi, my name is Ashley Jones, and I'm a full-time instructor in the Welding and Fabrication Department at Washtenaw Community College. How did I end up here? That's the question. When I was in high school, I originally wanted to grow up and be an artist and go to art school. When I realized how expensive art school was and that my degree was going to say something like arts and crafts on it, I decided to pause and see what other options I had out there. So I actually took an internship at a glassblowing studio for 2 years, and I absolutely loved it, but it turns out I wasn't very good at it. So with that, I tried to kind of find something else to do with the rest of my life, and I stumbled upon the welding and fabrication program here at Washtenaw Community College. And after that first class, I was just trying it out, but after that first class, I was hooked. I never wanted to do anything else with my life. The idea of being able to change the skyline of a major city by way of helping develop, build, inspect bridges and buildings was kind of like a fairy tale concept to me. I found it really interesting and exciting. So going through the program here at WCC, I was lucky enough to have some really good instructors help me along the way, and I got really involved in the Skills USA competitions and had just a blast with that. So then after I graduated, I realized that the welding industry wasn't just arcs and sparks under a hood getting dirty every day. It had a lot more to offer than that. The welding industry touches everything in our daily lives. There is not one product that you interact with or sentimental object that you keep that wasn't impacted by welding in some sort of way, whether it's self-welded or made with equipment that was welded. It was all made possible because of the welding industry. So with that, there are so many options that most folks might not even consider. You could be an iron worker and build the steel structures that you drive around looking up at from your cars, right? Or you could be a welding engineer helping develop the process or the design of a new vehicle that you might drive by on the road and admire in some sort of way. And then there's what I actually ended up doing, which was working in a metallurgy lab from a very specific scientific point of view of the welding industry. I got to evaluate really, really cool, interesting products and materials. Then from there, I actually went on to be a structural steel inspector. So I did actually get to fulfill my dream of impacting the skylines of cities here in Detroit and Southeast Michigan, really. So I was able to climb steel, inspect the welds and other steel connections that other folks had made. And I was able to give the thumbs up or thumbs down, really help troubleshoot and problem solve with engineers and contractors. And then I decided that, it's time to share this awesome opportunity with other folks and come back to Washtenaw Community College as an instructor. I'm super grateful for WCC, because if it wasn't for them, I really wouldn't have had such a cool career to look back on and be very proud of like I am. The welding industry has just meant everything to me, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm so happy I ended up where I was, even just by chance, right? Some of the things that are important in our industry to have, some skills would be surprisingly soft skills, being able to communicate with people effectively, to write technical documents, to give somebody a handshake and look them in the eye and work with ethics and confidence, right? I think another thing would be if you're really detail-oriented or you find technical things very interesting, but maybe computers aren't your jam, maybe welding might be interesting to you because there's so many different aspects of this industry that you can kind of find your way into. One of the things that I wish I might have known a little bit sooner about the industry is find a mentor, find somebody who has been around the block a time or two and ask them questions, you know, learn from their wisdom, right? Take advantage of the time that they spent learning and growing, and really use that to get yourself ahead, right? One of the other things that I found really helpful in a technical career was networking, especially for those folks that think that welding is just arcs and sparks and getting dirty and working with your hands. That part is all possible, but it can also be something else. And if you find a way to network with other folks in that industry, you might find that there are many more opportunities out there that you never even thought of. I sat on the board of the American Welding Society Detroit section, and had the privilege of helping them with their scholarship programs and different high school welding competitions. It was a lot of fun, but I also was able to meet some of the best engineers in the automotive industry, in the structural steel industry, and that really opened doors for me to be able to find what was the most interesting to me within the industry. So those folks who came before me really helped guide me and understand what the possibilities were. I think a lot of us might have a very narrow view of what CTE might involve or what a career in technical education or technical programs might look like, but I've been pleasantly surprised to find that the world is my oyster just from this one skill set, welding, right? So give it a shot, you never know.